So you can start whenever you're ready.
Cool. My name is Jaquan Cummins. I go by Quanatl. I'm a photographer and a visual artist.
Oh. So we like to start our interviews with the first question. Are you hood grown? And if so, how does that influence your aesthetic?
I consider myself hood grown because I'm from. Ah, damn, my bad.
It's okay. Get it?
Because I've lived I've lived where I'm like, I've lived in the house I've lived in for like my whole life, so it's in the hood, and yeah, I'm grown here. I even went to like the daycare I live right next to.
Oh, dope. So I feel you've been in the same neighborhood like all my life. So I feel that it's like it makes you see things a little bit differently when you're in the same place for a while.
Yeah.
Did you feel like being in that area has influenced the work you're making?
Definitely, because like it's just like urban. It's like it's gritty. It's not like all pretty. I mean, I do like pretty stuff too, but I feel like I can. I feel like it's. Now I'm thinking about it too much. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely like influenced my work.
So what or who introduced you to photography?
My grandfather, he was a photographer. He shot a lot of travel stuff. I went on a lot of road trips with him, driving all around. Sorry about that. Can you pause it one time? Wait 1 second.
Oh, really? Out down there was a storm?
Yeah, there was a storm.
Oh, okay. All right, so your grandfather's a photographer.
Yeah. He is a photographer.
And he brought you to what kind of spaces were you like?
We drove all around the United States. We drove to New York, Boston,
nice.
all around. Chicago, Florida. I mean,
you just take pictures?
Yeah, like just going everywhere. And he always let me use his Minolta camera.
Oh. So does that have any influence or reason why you're like so attracted to abandoned buildings? So you get yourself into these kind of abandoned buildings quite often. These places are kind of sealed for like years, for like usually 10 to 20 years.
The good ones that are far away, like in different states, but you just have to do research. I wouldn't say my past, like my grandfather didn't get me into that. I'd say like just growing up with like skater friends and just like being places where we're not supposed to be, like even though when we were skateboarding or like tagging or doing some type of arts and stuff. I'd say like that. I always brought my camera around and skate. Yeah.
Do you feel like going into these spaces? I've noticed like in some of your photographs, you like flip through like old yearbooks or something. You'll see like a picture
I
of
love finding old ass shit. And
it's really cool the like artifacts you find.
Like yearbooks and like kids from like 77.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, that's that's like 50 years ago now.
Yeah, it is 50 years ago. It's wild to think that the 70s was 50 years ago. But do you ever think of your work as like anthropological, like the study of like people through their things, just by the way that you're photographing objects, and people have been so far taken away from it? Like it's just a history of their objects, and you're learning about people through objects.
Well, I think because growing up in high school, my favorite subject was history. So like I've always been drawn to like be into like history, and I like a lot of like investigation, like crime scene, like TV shows and stuff. I'm into like a lot of that. So when I even like post and like put it in my artwork, or like say like the year this was abandoned and how long this has been here. I think I'm just showing my side of my love for history. And if I wasn't a photographer, I'm not saying I would be a history teacher. No, I couldn't do that. But I do like history.
Nice. So, why are you drawn to buildings or environments that are like in decay? I mean, like you talk about a little bit, you're drawn to history, but particularly like histories that are kind of crumbling that you can't quite, they're not as crisp anymore.
Right. Can I get the question one more time?
Yeah, so you often are attracted to buildings or environments that are kind of like full on in a crumble state, or like I've seen images of buildings that are halfway crumbled down and you're able to get into them and photograph like really interesting shots of buildings that are in decay. Um, why are those spaces a little bit? I've noticed those are your kind of more personal shots that you're taking those
Yeah.
versus what you do for
Yeah.
like commission work. We'll
Right.
get to that in a
Yeah.
second.
I just grew up, just trespassing and skateboarding.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say skateboarding because the friends I used to hang around back in the day, we would just literally just skate anywhere, try to find something to like make it ours, like our own, like DIY. Um, and I'm really I'm really that's truly honest, like how it kind of started. I just was always exploring. I was always just curious, like what like what's behind this door, or like what's around here. Like you never
Mm-hmm.
know what happens if you go back here.
Right. So I've also noticed through your website, you have like a section of just film photography. Um, and those like film work you have there, it often includes life, like people at
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you use film while you're in social settings to continue to live in the moment? As you say in your bio, you say that you like to live in the moment. So I don't know if that's kind of like you can just quickly snap it and then you don't have the pleasure of looking at it like digital, so you can't say if it's good or not right away. You're just kind of like, eh, it
Yeah, I
happened.
feel like you explained it for me. I like I used to be a bar back at a bar
Oh,
when
nice.
everything was open.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I'd always be partying and out and
Hmm.
enjoying life with friends, kind of just like trying to not seem so professional on the internet,
Mm.
because a lot of people see my work and they like never put the face to the name.
Yeah.
But I love, especially like living in Atlanta, like with the music scene. Like I think the last people I shot Made in Tokyo in
Hmm.
24 hours and his girlfriend. Um, but the CVS lost that roll of film.
Oh no.
They really lost it because
They
I
just
turned in
like,
like I turned in three rolls to them, and they only got back two. They lost one, and that it could have been the other one that wasn't them,
yeah.
but it's all good. Like I grew up. That's not the first time I've worked with them. Um,
Nice. So you might
they
extend it
always
to
do
like,
like the ATV dirt bikes, so like right on my street. So you might hear like
it's fine.
loud noise.
That's what
Um,
it is, man. We're gonna hear some noises. That's what
yeah,
happened.
but
Dope.
what was I saying?
You're talking about being out and then losing the. I mean, this is like the the one bad
Yeah,
thing,
I
or one of the
love
few bad things
doing it
about
in
film.
film because it's just there. It's just like it's a moment. Like I love
Mhm.
partying and then just like putting my air. Like if I'm at like a bar club thing and I just put my camera in the air and just get like
Just see what
whatever
happens.
that moment felt like. Yeah.
Oh,
But it's
um,
definitely like more expensive just to like
oh yeah,
pay for and get all the
oh
time.
yeah.
Besides like my digital camera,
Hmm. You can just upload it and it's all there, and you get like,
and it won't get lost.
you don't have to count on CVS.
Man,
um,
now I go to another film place up north,
oh, okay, you
but
trust
that's
them more.
still expensive too. Like it's still
Yeah,
that all adds up than just like a SD card.
yeah, that's true. So you shoot at extreme heights. I am not good with heights. I don't know how you get up in those
Uh,
spaces that you do. You get on essentially the roofs of skyscrapers. You sometimes dangle your feet off the edge of them, which makes me nervous just to look at.
it is
Um,
fun.
but how were you able to get comfortable working at such high heights?
So that kind of goes with like the whole skateboarding thing,
Yeah.
and like I used to have a fear of jumping off of stuff, like learning skateboarding.
Yeah, but
So
that's
I
like
was,
extreme
and then
height. Like it's one thing with a
I
ramp.
understand. I'm explaining. I'm explaining. Um, I used to be scared to jump off of stuff until I overcame the fear of like doing tricks off of stuff, and I
Hmm.
guess it just kind of escalated. And then like I took this one New York trip, and I was just going on a lot of rooftops. And when I definitely started doing that here in Atlanta, but I didn't do like skyscrapers until I went to New York and I did it with I seen this YouTube video of my friend named Vic.
Hmm.
I followed him on Instagram. I hit him up. I emailed him. I actually paid him and his mom to like just come up there and stay with them.
Hmm.
Like I don't know, just take pictures because he was being featured in Vice magazine, New York Times, so many publications. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
And I like literally was just following my dreams. I was like, yo, I'm just gonna hit this dude up.
Right.
Yo, bro, and he's black too. So
Oh, that's dope.
yeah, like yo, bro, let's get this shit. I went up there. I fucking climbed some tile shit, and then I came back to Atlanta, and now I'm just like, oh yeah, this is nothing.
Yeah, it's a lot easier, I'm sure, in Atlanta
Yeah,
than it
New
is in
York
New
is
York.
scary. New York
Yeah,
is very scary.
yeah. I
A
used to live
lot of
in New
like
York. I know people that.
Atlanta's just like ladders and ledges. New
Mm,
York's like ladders, slopes, and
mm,
like shit you could fall off of more.
yeah,
Yeah, the architecture is way different. Like there's
it
like
it looks
pillars.
scary, so I don't know how you
Yeah,
do it.
definitely
um,
sober, but
yeah, always sober. I could
yeah,
not
yeah,
imagine.
always, always. Actually, like I was supposed later tonight, some friends wanted to go do something, climb a crane or something, and it's always spontaneous to me. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, like I'm not mentally prepared for it right now. But like once it's in front of me, and you just look up, I mean, just go up.
Yeah, just try it. Ooh, but like the looking down part is the scary part. The looking
Yeah,
up
I'm
is
just make sure
okay.
you're always safe. Just make sure you're like
Just make
not.
sure you're safe. I don't know. That's
Make
how.
sure you're comfortable. Like you're comfortable with like
Mm-hmm.
where you know where you're gonna step or grab or
Mm-hmm.
I'm never doing like flips and I like see when people ask me that I'm like saying I always compare my stuff to like those Russian people who just or parkour. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not like running like doing flips and stuff. Even though I have like shot a few friends like breakdancing on
Hmm.
rooftops, which actually terrified me. Me
Yeah.
taking their picture actually I'm terrified through my camera. Like,
You're
bro,
like
he's like
cautiously
I'm
holding on
telling
to
him to
things.
come, boy. This way he's like more comfortable going that way. I'm like, yo, come this way.
Dope.
But,
Can
yeah, good time.
you talk to me a little bit about your relationship with color and like color as in like the elements you add to environments, whether that being your color smoke or your collage dragons that you add in Photoshop, or even just the sneakers you choose to wear and shoot. That's often just like the contrast is bright, or even the light you choose to shoot. What colors are you drawn to, and why do you photograph the colors that you're looking at?
So my favorite color is orange. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but my favorite color is orange. And at one point, I was just editing all my like before I would take a picture and then when I put it in the Lightroom, I would just like put an orange like tint on it, and I would
Mhm.
just start there. But I learned that I got into I would really say I got into my colors really good when I did this Philadelphia trip. I went to Philly.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, like I just gotta make sure stuff's like it pops. Like I
Mhm.
used to be an intern for a fashion company,
Mhm.
and my boss he was very but his whole brand was black and white. He never ever used
Red
color.
color.
And like editing with him, I used to get so frustrated because like I think I do it black and white, but then
Mhm.
he'll come back and he'll like tweak the contrast or fuck with the levels and stuff, and like it just gave me a different look at output. But I did that for like a year. But that also my sister, hold on, let me close my door. My sister's about to walk in. Like um I just try to make colors pop. I try not to overdo it. Like sometimes, I mean, some people might say I overdo my saturations and my vibrance, but I always like when I'm editing, I always go to like the highest and then the lowest, and I just kind of like wiggle them until it just kind of looks right, you know.
Yeah, until you
Just
get it right.
and then one thing when I edit my pictures, I like even when the first time I like I do one edit, I have like it's not done. Like I
Mm.
have to like go smoke or like go ride my bike, and then come literally
See it on fresh
listen to some
eyes.
music, and then come back to it, and then I'll be like,
Mhm.
oh, what the hell? Oh shit! I'll be like why the hell did I even like think this was gonna be done?
All right. So, you shoot a lot of architectural spaces, as we've been talking about, but you also shoot through your kind of like real estate photography as well. Is there a difference in the way that you approach the buildings you are hired to try to sell versus the buildings whose remains you're kind of exploring?
I just think it's from like having such strict bosses in the past because I used to work for an architect firm, and again, I would think I know what I was doing because of how I shoot my abandoned stuff, that I was doing something right. I've learned so much. I've learned so many different techniques and so many different things just from like working with people. Um, but definitely the real estate and you know, even the trespassing clean skyscraper architecture shots, like
Mhm.
those shots are like real precise. Like make sure all my settings are like top tier. Besides when I'm shooting abandoned stuff, I'm
Mhm.
just like I feel like a rapper in the booth. Like I'm just like I'm just freestyling that. Like like with the cartoons and stuff. It just literally I just like get a feel for like the scene. Like if I was like a director, like I would just get a feel for like the scene where I'm at.
All these metaphors you're using. You're a rapper, you're a director, all through photography. I like it. Oh, I get it. No, it's a good visual. Now I understand it more. Dope.
But
And
like doing like cleaner real estate stuff, that's like it's kind of by the books.
mm,
So like, but it's also practice, and that's another thing I try to tell people. It's practice. Everything is practice. Like, you just got to do it a lot. Like, at
but,
least like, well, it really depends on what you're doing.
mm-hmm.
But
But
practice makes perfect.
practice
I'm
makes
still
perfect.
working on my stuff too.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, I feel you. As am I. We're all working on our stuff to make it better.
right.
But like, can you get any better when you're like named Atlanta's best photographer like 2 years in a row?
That was
Being an award-winning photographer, how has it changed people's response to your work?
um. I just feel like I just have to keep up. Like I have to keep motivating others to do better.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel now. But um,
Just pushing others, just challenge.
just try to keep pushing positive vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of I think I focused on negativity too much. 'Cause I do get a lot of hate. But I still just try to push positive vibes. Like it's not that I'm best at anything. I was just really like I was networking my ass off those 2 years, and I was doing big jobs. I was doing real big jobs with like
Yeah.
big time rappers, driving to California, going everywhere with like a lot of rappers. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't post my rapper stuff anymore, but I got my name from like traveling with 21 and doing a lot of stuff with Young Thug and Playboy Cardi way before he was popping. We used to
Mm-hmm.
skateboard over here, like it's crazy,
Oh, dope. That's so cool.
literally. Um,
But you're still making though, obviously. I saw
right, and I'm
just on
still growing.
Instagram today you were shooting. So you're
I
always
was, yeah,
shooting.
yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time for this interview. Can you last talk to us about what's next for your work, if there's anything big coming up, and where the
For
people
sure.
can find your work?
Um, right now I'm self-teaching myself like architecture and this program called Revit. I just want to design houses. I want to
Mm-hmm.
design homes. I
You're
want to
around them
design
so
skate
much.
parks, right? Even
Yeah.
the broken down ones. But I
Mm-hmm.
think I would have like a different approach to it than just like your average architect. I just
Mm-hmm.
think my work would be different if I actually learned how to do it,
Right.
and that's what I'm doing right now, and that's what I'm giving myself this quarantine time to sit down and study more applications like that.
Dope. And where can the people find your work, your Instagram handle, your website, all that?
My website, Google Chrome or Safari or whatever your internet browser is. Just quanatl.com.
Cool. I'll have that all in the show notes for folks. It'll be easy to find. And just side note, how is it down south for the quarantine? Is everyone staying safe?
I mean, I'm just always,
you're always out.
Well, yeah, that too. But I'm not around like big crowds. I wouldn't say.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I think they're gonna open up stuff next Monday.
I heard.
Announced it on the AJC. I don't know.
I heard about that. We're not doing that up here in Massachusetts, but I heard y'all are doing that down there. I don't know what's gonna happen for us, but yeah.
I actually miss Boston. Boston was dope.
Yeah, you should come back.
Last time I was up there, it was for my grandma's funeral, but
that's never.
It was, I did get some cool pictures. I meant to make a book, but I never finished. I pretty much just didn't pay for it. That was the last step. I needed to work on that. Well, I haven't got that check either.
Oh yeah, the stimulus check. I'm waiting on mine too. Feel you.
Yeah.
Make a lot of investments with that.
That would fucking be great, actually. I would get some shirts, man. I would get a lot of stuff. Like, I get these empty frames I have all over my house. Would be filled.
Yeah. Dope. Well, thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy throughout all this stuff. And I'll talk to you soon. I'll let you know when this will come up and all that jazz.
Oh, yeah. Now I feel like we've already just like hung out and had a conversation.
I know.
Just hit me up.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
No problem.